And hey, I am Nathan Roshawn. Welcome to another episode of All Aware Podcast. It's been a little while, but we are here. I am riding solo tonight, so it's just going to be me and you. But we're going to cover a couple little things that are going on recently. It is Easter Sunday, so I want to say happy Easter to all of you out there. And we've got, like always, stuff going on geopolitically. We've got stuff going on here in America. And we're always looking to become more aware and spread information and knowledge, because knowledge is power. So that's why I wanted to come on here today and kind of share some of the stuff I've been noticing and seeing in the last few days and weeks. Most recently, everybody's aware now, whether you follow the mainstream news or whether you follow just alternative news, or if you don't even follow news at all, somebody has told you now about the Francis Key Scott Bridge in Baltimore, Maryland. It has collapsed, and the news media is saying that it is an accident. It was unintentional. It's a mistake. First looking into that, some people, most of us, thought, okay, wow, that's a little bizarre, but maybe that's what it is. And then after we've looked into it a little bit, some of us have determined other things may be afoot here. So I'm gonna go into some of this a little bit. It's been done on a couple programs. There's different varying viewpoints, and some people go to the far extremes, and others are just saying, yeah, it's a mistake. So the good thing about news is you're supposed to be presented with all the facts and all the details so that you can make your own decision. And that's what's missing. There's agendas all over the place for different reasons for you to, for somebody to want you to see it a certain way. So I just want to show you what I've seen. I've listened to both sides of the argument. I've read articles from various sources. I've read the news and listened to individuals that are in Baltimore and what they say is happening. I've listened to the audio transcripts from radios and things like that. Just not everything added up. So I just want to kind of go into that and show you that first thing here. So let's go in. I'm going to show you. So this is the video that's been spreading around. It looks like it's from a monitor or something, from a business or something that's showing. It's got a pretty good view of the bridge. If you can see my little black and white mouse here, it's circling the ship. That's the ship right there. Up here in the middle top of the bridge, you do have a red light. It's like a warning light for low flying aircraft and things like that, to know that that's the top of the bridge. So the first thing I always do when I research is, I just sit back and observe, usually multiple times, dozens of times here. And if you do that, we're just going to stay on the screen without playing it. Well, let's look at the structure of the bridge. So you got the roadway coming over here. We got some little light interference down here in the middle. You keep going, boom, that looks good. Here's a pillar, pylon over there. There's a pylon over here. That's what's being held up. Way over in the far right corner, you can see there's one over there as well. And then we can't see it off frame to the left, but there is a connection over there that connects to the road, that connects to the land, blah, blah, blah. Pretty self-explanatory, right? This is a type of a bridge. I don't know if you've ever played that game. There's a bridge connector phone game you can play where you build bridges and structures, and then you drive a truck or car over it, and it'll collapse or whatever if it's not up to code, or if there's weak spots. So it's kind of weird when I look at this. I see that. I'm kind of using my game analogy here when I'm looking at that, but you can tell that this is a top supported bridge. most of it. The heavy structure supported by the all the framework and stuff that's on the steel at the top of the bridge here, all the way across. So that's what holds this road and allows it to have a weight, varying weights and pressures on it. When weight and pressure goes on the roadway there, the top structure here, these cross members and beams withstand all that weight and hold it together. So we're gonna start playing. Here's the boat, the ship, I'm sorry, the dolly down here. I guess actually right before I play it, let's talk a little bit about the dolly. So it was in port in Baltimore there, and it was supposed to be going out to sea. It had finished what it was doing there, the container ship. So it was going out to sea. Trying to see if I can bring up. So let's look at what's going on. So this is the dolly. This is the port of Baltimore. So the ship was over here where you can see this little blue icon over here. That's where it originally was. And when it left, so it left out towards the north on this map. The northwest over here on the Patapsco River. And then it actually had, there's been some varying descriptions of this because some people thought it just kind of went on its own and did its own thing. It's not necessarily true. It had two tugboats that guided it out from the port, going northwest here, in the direction of how this map is angled. And then it came up here, did its turn. It did a U-turn basically in the middle of the sound there, got onto the pathway. If you've ever ridden in a boat in the ocean, or I've looked at GPS on a boat, there are pathways just like on roadways and cars. There are pathways that designate where ships should travel, where deeper water is, and things like that. So right down here where you see my black mouse here moving back and forth is a thoroughfare, or a pathway for ships and vessels. So it did its U-turn as it started heading at 8 to 9 knots towards the bridge here. This is the bridge here where you can see all this stuff down here. That's all the rescue equipment, and the dolly is still there aground, sitting right there. But it was heading down towards the bridge. The tug vessels broke off at some point right here where my mouse is at, allowing it to freely flow and get out to port. Shouldn't have been no issues. Then we see as it got closer here, that's when it started having problems. So we'll go over here and see what kind of problems we're talking about here. So you can see it right there. It's heading straight for the pylon. Boom, hits it. Look at how this bridge collapsed all the way down. Now, that is not normal. I understand it is a 1,000-foot vessel. I understand it's very, very, very heavy. But the way that collapsed, to me, when I originally saw it, was kind of iffy. And so let's run it back here. So somehow it got over here by this pylon, or this pillar support beam. And you see at one point, this video doesn't show it, but prior to it getting this close, the power went out for, I don't know, a minute or so, and then it came back on. And then the claim was that when it lost power, it lost control of its steering. So I don't know. I'm not. I haven't been on that vessel. I don't know, but I know usually, depending on the type of vessel, you don't necessarily lose rudder control. There's manual operations and stuff that that allow you to still control the rudder, but maybe not on this vessel. Okay, so let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say they lost rudder control, but it is heading straight for this pylon. There's this huge ass opening right here. So what is it doing over there anyways, first of all? And why was it going, fairly quickly, 8 knots, 9 knots, towards this thing. And then if you see here, when it hits it, boom. You saw there, I just paused it. That was the initial collision right there. There's water and debris and everything flying everywhere right there. And then it keeps coming, then boom, that's the at the point when it starts to collapse. And then it goes down. Are you seeing anything on this bridge that's kind of weird? All right, let's do it one more time. I'm going to point it out here. So remember up here when you're looking across the bridge, you're looking at all these supports and things like that. There's a couple weird things that happen. Boom, it hit. It hit. Right over here, there's lights from construction vehicles that are on the bridge. But right, boom, right there, there's a light. What is that? Looks like fire, right? Now look, over here, the same thing has just started over here. Right there. So yeah, there is a light right there. Remember that red light? But right here, there's something else right there too. There's the light. Then right beside it, boom. What was that? And as soon as that happened, the structure integrity of this part of the bridge started to collapse. Then look right here. Next, right? Boom, right there, right there, right there, explosions. You can even see the fire and stuff right here where my mouse is circling. And then that falls quicker. There's still something going on over there. And then boom. And now there's all kinds of stuff going on over there, right? So that's just a thought. There might be other things at play there. The other weird thing was in the same day, another bridge hit. I'm sorry, another vessel, another barge actually hit a bridge in Oklahoma. And that was captured on film by some boaters. And let's see if I can bring that up. So here's this one. This was it's either on the same day, it was really close to the same day. You have another barge striking a bridge, hitting the pylon. So, when you see this kind of stuff, it's kind of odd. It was going at a high rated speed as well. Luckily, the integrity of this bridge held up there, but this stuff is just really strange. Okay. Very strange. This one, boom, hit another, looks like it hit another boat, hit the bridge, hit all kinds of stuff. It's moving over there. There was also another vessel that hit a crane on a port around the same time too. I wasn't able to find the video. I looked earlier on that one. But this is some strange stuff going on here that just makes you wonder and try to think of maybe there's something else going on. I don't know. people say, all kinds of things. I won't even go into them. You can look them up and find them, but very strange right now. So just be careful what you listen to, and try to figure it out for yourself. But just you know, use discernment right now, because it may be some kind of an attack of some kind. I have no way of knowing, other than from what I see, what I witness, what I know from my past, things like that. Putting it all together. But regardless, NPR was stating that 4 people have been recovered, bodies have been recovered, and then there was one person that was actually recovered and placed in the hospital, allegedly, as soon as the first when the rescue ships first got there. And then there were 2 guys found in a truck at the bottom of the water there, and then another guy was recovered as well. So those guys unfortunately didn't make it. So it's never a good thing. Um, you know, it's sad, the loss of life for this stuff, man. It's crazy. But initially when I watched the video, I was so glad to see that most of the traffic had been removed from the bridge, or blocked from the bridge, or however they did it. So that was also maybe a little strange too. But I'm glad it happened. There's a few semi trucks that went over it right before, maybe 20 seconds or 10 seconds before it hit the bridge. The dolly hit the bridge. So I'm glad that most of the people were off that there. So we'll have to continue the story, figure out what develops with that. So I guess stay tuned as it comes to that. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about research. I think seeing that and having to go through that again here for my own self, it kind of reminded me that there's a lot of misconceptions about, I don't know, how to research. I mean, everybody considers themselves a researcher now. Everybody is like an armchair detective in a way. And you know everyone wants to be the first one to know the truth about something and to be able to spread that news. But a lot of times, and this is in the truther movement, this is in whatever you want to call it, this is in all of our attempts to be honest and truthful and straightforward. We run into this, and I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about, a good way, a good method to research. I'm by no means a scientist. I'm not a professional. I don't even know what you would call it, but I'm, book detective or anything like that. Although I am an investigator. In real life, I'm a private investigator. I went to college um, for sociology with an emphasis in criminology. We did learn about the scientific method. We learned about statistics and how to, take extremes and try to find the facts and inside of those extremes. And that's the thing about all information. There is truth in all information. Usually, there's nothing really that is ever told that has, it's just complete fabrication. There's usually some kind of a underlying or lower level truth, and that's what gets everybody to believe it, right? So what you need to find to do when you research is figure out how to pick the truths that are consistent in all statements. And that typically is going to be what actually is going on, and what the truth is. And it might not paint the entire picture, but at least you have one part of the picture that is true. And then typically over time, you just wait, and eventually the rest eventually comes out. It's just how the truth works, how lies work. You can only lie for so long before the truth is just going to come out. So, you always want to get, this is just my personal method that I've used for, 15, 20 or more years now. You always want to get at least 3 sources. And you don't want those sources to be the same or similar, right? So it might be one extreme. You listen to it, it might suck, you might hate it because it might not be your cup of tea, it might not be what you want to hear, but listen to the opposition. Then you want to listen to somebody you trust that might have your opinion or is a professional in the field. And then maybe get somebody who is on site. For instance, if we were researching the Baltimore Bridge, contact people that maybe in Baltimore. Ask them what's going on, where they were. Have they talked to anybody that was near the bridge? Did anybody see it firsthand? Obviously, if you get information directly from a source that witnessed it, it's going to be more accurate than getting it from somebody who is just seeing it online or through another source. It just gets diluted as it goes. So you want to try to do that, and then over time you want to develop a network of trustworthy people, and like I said, people that are kind of in the know or who have experienced different things, and not all is going to be the same. So you might, maybe you have an engineer. Let's use the bridge example. Maybe an engineer or an architect or something in your family or whatever. That'd be the first person you want to go to. Go to the architect. Hey, did you see that bridge? What is that possible? What's going on here? Can you tell me how that bridge could collapse like that with the boat striking it like that? See what they say. And then you build on that, and then maybe go to a demolition expert if that's kind of the route you're going, and say, hey man, is this possible? Is this what it looks like when a bridge is demolished? Let's see what they say. And then you go online. It's okay, to go online. Go online, watch videos from different angles, views. Like we did, go to Vessel Finder for that particular incident. I went to Vessel Finder and I looked at the route. I looked at the boats around there. The other day I was on another government site that showed the routes, which oddly enough I wasn't able to find tonight. I wanted to show you that too, to show you the pathways and things, but it takes time to research, and you're not going to get the answer typically right away. You're going to want to build. One reason why I'm usually late to the show with a lot of information, even with my co-host Echo and some of the other people I bring on here, it's because we are waiting and we are letting things fall out and we are gathering information, because I don't want to come on here and just tell you things and be the first one to tell you them. That a lot of times bites people in the butt, and then they have to backtrack or they have to spin something, and they might be a very, very good person who's trying to do the right thing, and they just get caught up in the initial confusion and chaos of any type of situation. So be open-minded to the fact that you're not probably going to get a lot of the information up front, and you might have to sit back and wait for information to develop, or you might have to really dig for yourself for that information in different ways. Kind of treat it like a puzzle. When you get a puzzle, you got 100 pieces or whatever, and They're all cut up weird angles and things, and you got the box. You can see whatever the picture is on the box, but now you got to figure out, you got red pieces over here and blue pieces and yellow, and you separate them all and things. You got your edge pieces, and you got your corner pieces, right? And then you kind of systematically try to separate that out to build the beginning of the picture. And then a lot of people start with the corners, right? You start with the corner and try to connect them and build that framework, and then you fill in the frame, right? Well, that's the same way you research. First thing, you got to separate the buzz. You got to separate the news. You got they're saying this over here. They're saying this over here. This is what it looks like down here. What I'm seeing is this. So I'm going to put that here. Then you got to build that framework, build that frame of that puzzle. And once you have the frame, then you can start filling in the information until you have the complete picture. So hopefully that helps you guys. I don't want to stay too long. I think my computer's not going to survive much longer on this battery. I don't have it plugged in. I just reset up my studio here at the house from traveling, and I forgot how much goes into that. One thing I don't have is the power cord. It's probably in my bag, but anyways, I'm glad you guys came on here. I'm sorry that I've been a stranger for longer than I have wanted to be. Hoping to get back in here in April, May, with some more content and episodes. I'm going to also do some more shows with Echo Hotel from Night Watch. And we'll probably talk a little bit about the next show I want to do. I want to get into more into something called Ingersoll Lockwood. It's a defense company that works with Space Force. There's some interesting things about that company that not a lot may be aware of, that we're going to go into. We started to go into it in our Patriot event, live broadcast over there in Claremore, Oklahoma, the last episode. And I know a lot of that was kind of hard to hear, and it was just kind of an open platform, so it wasn't easy to probably follow if you're new to some of this information. So let's get into that. I think we're going to do that. We're going to also get into some more information on how we ended up here where we are today. Americans, our ancestors kind of turned a blind eye to a lot of things and allowed for different regulations and policies and things to be put in force that has led us to a situation where we are now having to fight out of, right, as Americans and as actually as a global population. Most people around the world want the same things, regardless of what some aspects of society try to tell you. Human nature is the same across the world. We all want basic needs met. We all want joy. We all want peace. We all want love. All of us want harmony. Even the ones that act like they don't, they actually do, but they just want their own version of harmony, which typically isn't conducive to the rest of us. But anyways, so we're going to get into some information about, the true laws, really, common law, and the difference between the types of laws, what our real history is here in the United States of America. How are we, how did we get subjected to kind of no rights and being able to be trampled on and things like that? Is it something we did? Yeah, it actually probably is. It is. and how we can get out of it. So thanks for tuning in to another episode of All Aware. I'm your host, Nathan Roshawn, and like always, you are all aware. See you next time.